proudly represent Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District, Johnstown, Altoona, Chambersburg, Gettysburg, and we are going to join with Pittsburgh to welcome Donald J. Trump. Yeah, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work. In less than 24 hours, we are going to re-elect Donald J. Trump to be our President of the United States. Boy, it's great to be here. Usually I'm here with my son Dan watching a hockey game, but it's great as I look out and I see many patients. I see farmers. I see factory workers. I see nurses. I see doctors. I see the great people of southwestern Pennsylvania. But you know what I don't see? I don't see any garbage. I see patriots. I see proud patriots, patriots who support Donald J. Trump. I want to acknowledge the law enforcement who are here to protect each and every one of us. Would you please stand and allow us to thank you for your support? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would like to acknowledge the United States veterans who have served to keep this great country safe. Please, veterans, stand. Let us acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you. This past weekend, we turned back the clocks 1 hour, and tomorrow we have the opportunity to turn back the clock 4 years. Turn back the clock to a country that is safe and secure. Turn back the clock to a president who wants to defend our southern border, who understands the opening of the southern border and how that has allowed crime to pour into our country, how that has allowed fentanyl to cross our southern border at free will through the cartels, to poison our children, our neighbors, our family. It is time to re-elect Donald J. Trump to make this sovereign country once again secure. In Pittsburgh and around Pittsburgh, we stand on mass supplies of energy. Recently, I talked to Toby, and Toby Rice from EQT talked to me. Yeah, let's talk about the Marcellus Shale industry and support how important it is to unleash that energy that is under the feet of Pennsylvanians, to unleash that energy and return us to energy dominance, to supply our friends and neighbors with that energy, not just here in the United States, but throughout the world. Let's just look at what Kamala Harris has not accomplished. She has been incredibly unsuccessful as the borders are. She says she doesn't think of one thing that she can change of what has occurred under the Biden administration. Well, what we can change is we can change her presence in the White House, and we can elect Donald J. Trump as the next President of the United States. America, we're at a turning point, and that turning point is clear to each and every one of us here tonight at PPG Paint. We understand the importance of having a country that is free. We understand a president who wants to support our Constitution and support all our free speech, to support our Second Amendment rights, to support who we are as Americans, and not to disparage us. We were called individuals who hug our guns and Bibles. We were called garbage. But who we are American citizens. We are proud American citizens. And once again, we will be respected by the President of the United States. So tomorrow, for those who have already voted, I thank you. For those who haven't voted, cast that vote. Allow us to return to the freedoms that we had under Donald J. Trump. And there's a second very important position on that ballot, and that is for U.S. Senator. And we have the opportunity to send Dave McCormick to Washington to be our senator. Dave McCormick, the captain of the West Point's wrestling team. Dave McCormick, a successful businessman. Dave McCormick, a proud American. Dave McCormick, who will work. Donald J. Trump's going to be our quarterback, but we need Dave McCormick to be that flanker. We need that protection in the U.S. Senate. We have not had that with Bob Casey. We do not have that with Fetterman, but we will have that with Dave. And Dave McCormick will be our successful U.S. Senator. We look forward to doing that. So as I said, we are at a critical junction right now, and each and every one of us here understand how important that is. So if you have voted, take that opportunity and go to one of your neighbors, go to one of your friends, allow them, take them to the polling place, watch their kids, allow them to vote, change the course of history. We are going to do that, and Pittsburgh is going to be the proud component of that. I thank each and every one of you for being here today. Again, roll up your sleeves and work. God bless each and every one of you, and may God continue to bless these great United States of America. Thank you, Pittsburgh.
Ain't America beautiful? This place that we call home. Give us your time, your poor, your youngin' to be free forevermore. Ain't America beautiful? Ain't America beautiful?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Congressman G.T. Thompson.
Win. Hello, Pennsylvania. Are we going to win this election? Oh, you bet. With that kind of energy, we're going to crush this election. Good evening, everybody. I'm Congressman G.T. Thompson. I have the privilege of serving as the Dean of the Pennsylvania Congressional Delegation. I got one question for you. It's probably the most important question of the night. Are you ready to elect Donald J. Trump, the 47th President of the United States? You bet. Fight, fight, fight. Well, let's do a little stroll down memory lane. You remember when gas was under $2 a gallon? You remember when you could afford to buy every item on your grocery list? When determining boys from girls was solely based on biology? When Iran, Russia, and Hamas were not threatening the world with war? And when we respected and supported all of our men and women of law enforcement? Well, the common thread there is that was when President Donald J. Trump was the 45th President of the United States. And it's been a long 4 years since he wasn't. Today, our families suffer under the failed leadership of Harris. Let's face it, Kamala Harris broke it, and Trump will fix it. You know, for America to succeed, America must be strong, and Pennsylvania must be strong. And that's not going to happen if Kamala Harris gets another 4 years. It's time to turn the page and close this nightmare book. Let's send her back to San Francisco. Now, how many of you remember Rice-A-Roni? Quite a few. Well, I can honestly say Kamala Harris is no San Francisco treat. All right? You know, since Harris took office, you have spent nearly $25,000 more thanks to her inflation. And this is a tax that, quite frankly, you cannot afford. We cannot afford to go back to those job-killing policies of harmful Harris. A vote for Harris is a vote to end opportunity. Now, President Trump has always stood with our Pennsylvania families. His policies have meant more money in your pockets and more Pennsylvania jobs. And a strong economy needs a strong workforce. In 2018, I was proud to stand in the Oval Office with President Trump. Now, I'm in Center County. I'm from a town, the metropolis of Howard, Pennsylvania. 600 people, one red light. And yeah, it's a great place. It's home, born and raised. But to be able to have the privilege of standing in the Oval Office with President Trump as he signed into legislation my bill modernizing career and technical education, restoring rungs and a ladder of opportunity. You know, as the first Pennsylvania member of Congress in 170 years to chair the U.S. House Agriculture Committee, I also want to take an opportunity to do a shout out and to thank all of our farmers. A big hand for those who provide us all that we need. These are hardworking folks. They make up our #1 industry in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and they're critical to our economy. These hardworking Pennsylvania farm families provide us with food and fiber and fuel that we depend on each and every day. But our farmers under Harris are struggling with a farm crisis that is creating food insecurity for you and national insecurity for our nation. I have to tell you, having worked closely with the man, President Trump has always had the farmers' back, lowering their costs, reducing their regulatory burdens, and expanding their markets. As Ag Chairman, I look forward to once again working with the farmer's friend, Donald J. Trump, to make agriculture great again. I know, I've seen it personally. President Trump cares about your future. He cares about your family. He cares and loves this nation. And that's why he's willing to serve and sacrifice to run again to be the leader of this nation, to really save this nation from the challenges, the difficulties, and demise under the Harris administration. So I also want to say, I want to thank everyone here for your efforts on voter registration. Just amazing. You know, since President Trump was elected in 2016, Pennsylvania now has 226,000 fewer Democrats than what it did, and over 400,000 registered more Republicans. That is how we make this election too big to rig. Now I want to do a shout out to just a couple people that are American patriots or running. They're running in this area. A big shout out to State Representative Rob McCurry, who's running for Congress in PA 17. And James Hayes, who's running in PA 12 for Congress. So Pennsylvania, stand united to be Pennsylvania strong and Pennsylvania proud, and stand united to elect Donald J. Trump, the 47th President of the United States. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage former United States Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo.
Well, I was raised up beneath the shade of a Georgia pine, and that's home, you know, sweet tea, pecan pie, and homemade wine, where the peaches grow, and In my house, it's not much to talk about.
Good evening. Good evening, Pennsylvania. It is great to be with you all. Bless you for being out here tonight. Bless you for supporting. Bless you for supporting Donald J. Trump as he becomes the 47th President of the United States of America. You know, these last 3.5 years have been hard for me to watch. I know it's true for you too. We watched them break so much that had been done. And I often get asked, Mike, what was it like? Right, the Washington Post described me as the most loyal cabinet member to Donald J. Trump. I had to remind the president that they did not mean that as a compliment. They asked me, what was it like to serve for President Trump? And I told them, and I've told everyone hundreds of times in these 3.5 years, it was the greatest privilege that Mike Pompeo could ever have. It was a privilege because we had peace. You had prosperity. They didn't fly Chinese spy balloons over the United States of America. Indeed, had they done so, I would have been the former Secretary of State, and rightly so. We understood that peace mattered, that wars were bad, and that our servicemen and women deserved leaders who our adversaries feared and our friends trusted. And it kept you safe. It kept me and my family safe. It made America first again. I was proud to be a part of President Trump's team. I talked to him every day for 4 years, first as CIA director and then as Secretary of State. And what I was so proud of is that we understood the greatness of this nation, and we never once apologized for the United States of America. Not once. Now, President Trump's going to secure our southern border. We will bring peace back to the world. We will take down the Ring of Fire. We will support our friends in Israel, but he's going to need help to do that. President Trump will need help to do that. And you in Pennsylvania have the chance to send that help. I've known Dave McCormick for 40 years, since we were cadets at West Point when I was a much younger man. And when I think of Dave McCormick, who will be the next senator from Pennsylvania, when I think of Dave McCormick, I think about what our founders believed, the men and women who shaped our Constitution and who believed so deeply in American greatness. They were thinking about people just like Dave. They were thinking about people who selflessly served in our military. They were thinking about people who had run businesses and taken risks and grown our economy and created thousands of jobs all across our nation. They were thinking about people with real character and who knew who they were and who, unlike Bob Casey, would actually do something that mattered to you and to your family. Dave will do that, I promise you. Dave is a warrior. He has been a warrior. And as Pennsylvania's next senator, he will be a warrior for you and on behalf of President Trump. And America will be great again. May I welcome to the stage your next senator and my dear friend, Dave McCormick.
Whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes, 'cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes, you take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do what it takes.
Mike Pompeo, a great American. Thank you, Mike. Man, I am so glad to see you here in my hometown of Pittsburgh. You know, Mike and I went to West Point. You know, we had a lot in common. He was first in his class, and I was 501st.
I want to ask you a question before we get started. Who's ready to put Donald J. Trump back in the White House and Kamala Harris? Get these guys out of here. They're killing us. And who is ready to retire Bob Casey and send Chuck Schumer packing? We got to do it. We got to do it. You know, ever since I can remember, I've had politicians come and say, this is the most important election of your lifetime. Who's heard that? We've all heard it so many times. But I want to tell you, this is the most important election of your lifetime. Just think about it. Can you think of a time where the consequences of getting it wrong were so terrible? Can you think of a time where America was teetering on the edge of the cliff, and if we put the wrong leaders in place, we're going to go over the cliff, and we're going to wake up one morning, and we're not going to recognize the America we love, the America we want for our children? This is the most important election of our lifetime. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. And you know, the choice in front of us could not be more clear. It couldn't be more clear. The choice at the top of the ticket is between strength, the guy you saw in Butler saying, fight, 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 and the weakness, the disgraceful weakness of Biden, Harris, and I'll throw in Bob Casey. Adversaries around the world are testing us. They're challenging us. They think America's weak because of the people that are leading America now. We need a change. But it's not just leadership. It's common sense. President Trump will do common sense things. It's common sense that you can't spend $5 trillion and not get huge inflation, skyrocketing prices that are killing working families. It's common sense you can't have a wide open border that's letting millions of illegal immigrants come into our country free. Criminals, murderers, rapists, people on the terrorist watch list, people carrying fentanyl. That's common sense. It's common sense that if you have the fourth largest natural gas reserves in the world right here under our feet in Pennsylvania, you got to drill it, you got to frack it, you got to put it in pipelines, and you got to share it with the world. And it's common sense that if you want peace, if you don't want the bullies on the playground pushing us around, you got to be strong. And the only way to have peace is strength. That's common sense. And in Kamala Harris, you have the weak, liberal, extreme agenda. Don't believe me, in her own words. In her own words, she wants to ban fracking and transition energy workers. In her own words, she wants to give citizenships to illegal immigrants and make sure they get federal benefits. In her own words, she wants mandatory buybacks of your guns. In her own words, she wants to defund the police. And in her own words, and this is the one that really ticks off my friends from Bloomsburg, where I grew up, she wants to reduce your red meat consumption. Come on. That's not going to fly in Pennsylvania, right? But listen, President Trump can't do it alone. We need a majority in the Senate. We need a strong leader in the Senate on behalf of Pennsylvania that's going to fight for you and put these common sense policies in place. And here you have another choice. It's a choice between change and the status quo. It's a choice between a seventh-generation Pennsylvanian, was born in Washington County, someone who played football and wrestled, in the summers baled hay, trimmed Christmas trees, busboy, paperboy, went to West Point where I wrestled, Ranger School, 82nd Airborne Division, combat tour in Iraq, and a successful business guy. That's what I represent. I represent change. and I'm running against a career politician, 30 years in elected office. When he was first elected, the Macarena was the #1 song on the charts. He has not done anything. When the bullets start flying, he ducks. And he votes 98.6% of the time with the liberal extreme Biden-Harris agenda. And you know what really ticks me off? Someone said to me the other day, they said, "Are you running for the Casey seat?" I said, "Hell no, I'm not running for the Casey seat. He's not entitled to this seat because his dad was the governor. He's not entitled because he's been there 18 years. He has to fight every day to represent Pennsylvania. He has to fight every election to have the honor to represent Pennsylvania. This isn't Casey's seat. This is the people's seat." And the people of our great Commonwealth deserve better than Bob Casey. And so that's why this election is so important. That's why what we do in the next 24 hours is so important. Right? I wrestled in college. I wasn't the best wrestler, but I always knew if I could get into the third period, within a point or two, I'd win. Because the third period in wrestling, and we're in the third period right now, a couple seconds ago, the third period's not about wrestling. It's about mental toughness. It's about heart. It's about fighting for the last second until the buzzer goes. We need to do that. We need you in the next 24 hours, not just to vote. We need more than voting. We need you to tell 10 friends and 10 friends and 10 more friends. We need you to put up signs. We need you to say lots of prayers. We need you to do everything we can to take back our country. And if we do that, and if you do that, on November 6th, you're going to wake up, and you're going to look back on the day before, and you're going to say, on that day, that is the day that we put new leadership in place, that we changed the direction of our country, that we protected America for our children. Thank you. God bless you. Let's go make Pennsylvania great again. Thank you.
Whatever it takes.
I hopped off the plane at LAX with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess. Am I gonna fit in? Jumped in the cab, here I am for the first time. Look to my right and I see the Hollywood sign. This is all so crazy. Everybody seems so famous. My tummy's turning and I'm feeling kinda homesick. Too much pressure and I'm nervous. That's when the taxi man turned on the radio and a Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on. So I put my hands up to play my song. The butterflies fly away. Nodding my head like yeah. Moving my hips like yeah. I got my hands up to play my song. And know I'm gonna be okay.
to see Donald Trump be back in the White House after tomorrow night. What an amazing honor to be on this stage with America's favorite president. You know, when President Trump asked me to be the White House press secretary, I was the very first mom to ever hold that job and only the third woman. And when the left was relentlessly attacking me, kicking my family out of a restaurant, telling me I was unfit to be a mother, calling me vile, not even human, it was Donald Trump who stood up for me, defended me, and that's exactly what he does for every single one of us every single day. The left loves to talk about empowering women, but they can't even tell you what a woman is. But Donald Trump is not only empowering women, he is empowering every single American to live their best life and do it right here in the greatest country on the face of the planet. He cares about our country. He loves America. This is somebody who took a bullet, got back up, and has never stopped fighting and never will. I think God saved Donald Trump because he's not finished with him yet, and America needs him now more than ever. During the 2.5 years that I served as the White House press secretary, I traveled with the president all over the world. No trip more memorable than December 25th of 2018, when I had the chance to travel on Christmas night with the president on a trip unlike anything we'd ever done before. We boarded Air Force One in total darkness, no lights on the plane, no lights on the runway. And 12.5 hours later, when we touched down in the war-torn part of Western Iraq, it was again a similar scene. No lights on the plane, no lights on the runway. The only light you could see was coming from about a mile away of where we had landed. You see, there was light coming from that location because hundreds of troops had packed into a small dining hall. They had absolutely no idea that the President of the United States was about to step into that room. And when he did, a sight and a scene and a sound unlike any other unfolded. You had men and women from every part of the country, every race, every religion, every political party, every demographic you can imagine represented in that room. But in that moment, in one perfect voice, in total unity, they chanted over and over and over again, USA, USA, USA. It was an absolutely perfect picture of what makes America so incredible. You have people willing to put everything on the line so that we could live free in the greatest country the world has ever seen. And we have a president that understands it and is willing to fight to protect it. The reason America's the greatest country the world has ever known is because we're the freest country that the world has ever known. And we need a president who will stand up for that and make sure we have the ability to protect that freedom, preserve that freedom, and pass it on to the next generation. And that is exactly what Donald Trump will do every single day. But he needs your help to get there. We have to send a strong, clear message, and you can do that by voting for Donald Trump and sending him back to the White House, and that has to happen right here. America needs Donald Trump in the White House, and no pressure, but we're counting on you to send him there. Thank you so much for being here tonight. God bless you, and God bless our great country. Thank you.
Hey Meta, play music.
Thank you so much. Here we are, the night before the most important election of our lives. There's no place else I'd rather be than here with you. Here we are, fighting for the people, who is fighting for peace, and who has in his heart putting America first. You know, the most important quality that I look for in any elected leader, but especially the President of the United States, is someone who wakes up every single day asking himself, what can I do for the American people? I just spent the first half of the day before I came here in Western North Carolina, and we went through different areas in Asheville and the surrounding communities where people are still suffering and struggling in the wake of Hurricane Helene. And I was moved almost to tears many times as people shared with me their stories of loss, the funerals that they are going to for their loved ones who were killed in that disaster. There was a firefighter that gave me this bracelet with tears in his eyes in memory of his battalion chief, Tony Garrison, whose end of watch was on September 27, 2024, because he went out to save someone's life and brought them back. He heard that there was someone else who needed help, went out, rescued them, and brought them back. They said, my parents are still out there, please go and help them. He went out to find them and never came back. On the bottom of this black bracelet, it says, greater love has no one than this, that a person will lay down his life for his friends. We have a president in Donald Trump who's willing to lay down his life for us. It meant the world to the people in Western North Carolina that he showed up there for them. It meant the world to people in different parts of the country like East Palestine, Ohio, when he showed up for them. That's the difference between President Trump and Kamala Harris. Anyone who has spent a moment with President Trump understands how much he cares about the people, how much he cares about us. I can tell you as a soldier, someone who's been deployed multiple times to different war zones, someone who proudly wears the uniform, he cares about our men and women in uniform. He is committed to ending wars, not starting them. He is committed to truly bringing about peace and having the courage and the strength to stand up against the warmongers in Washington. Our choice in this election and the victory we need to deliver for President Trump tomorrow is the choice between Kamala Harris and 4 more years of tyranny, poverty, and war, and more war, or in President Trump someone who will stand up and defend our freedom and put us back on that path towards peace and prosperity. Let's deliver that victory for Donald Trump tomorrow. Send him back to the White House where we can all join him to make America great again. Thank you all so much for your love of our country. Thank you for defending freedom. Let's make it happen.